What's up, everyone? This is Paris Taylor, your host of the Cocktail Hour, the show where we spotlight the most talented bartenders shaking up the cocktail scene. Today, we're here in the heart of the Lower East Side at Amor y Amargo, where we'll be meeting with head bartender Bruce Schultz. This Cocktail Hour, let's go meet Bruce and see what he's making behind the bar. Bruce, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Chilling, brother. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for having us today, man.
Yeah, man. Good having you, bro.
Of course. So before we get started, man, would you mind just sharing with folks at home your name, where you're from, and where we are today?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Bruce Schultz. I'm from Queens, and I'm the head bartender here at Amor y Amargo.
Perfect. So before we get started, we're going to talk about your story, the bar here, the ambiance, and sort of your life outside of bartending. But we've got a segment called Cocktail Hour where we'll try one of the three drinks that you recommend on the bar's menu here. Would love for you to pick one for me to try, and walk through the story and the history and how it got on the menu.
Yeah, for sure. I really love this underground network here.
Okay.
That I kind of had more of a culinary approach.
Gotcha. This first one right here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So we're starting here with Miracle Mile Candy Cap Mushroom Bitters.
Okay.
Add that nice umami there. It almost has a little bit of kind of maple notes from that.
Okay.
You've got Strega, which is going to be more of a saffron forward liqueur from Italy. You have Lillet Blanc, which is a quinquina, nice juiciness there, and then finishing it off with some cognac. So you got some cognac saffron mushrooms.
There you go. Let's give this a try, man. That's really good, man.
Yeah, man.
1 for 1. I love it, man.
Heard of that?
So let's get started, man. So, talk to us about the journey, how you ended up bartending here at Amor y Amargo.
Yeah, absolutely. I started sort of in hospitality, but more like esoteric setting in terms of like I was working in a music studio.
Okay.
I used to work at Sony Music Studios, which the building doesn't even exist anymore, from 17 to 21, kind of like while I was in high school. And I spent 70, 80 hours a week there and loved it. I got to, be with the guests, the musical talent. In fact, I found myself actually, working with the Rough Riders and hanging out with the Rough Riders, like late sessions, like 5-6 nights a week. And then towards the tail end that 21, just kind of music had taken a shift away from like the studio, and it became more digital, and you could do more things at home. So that kind of took a shift, and then I went to college, kind of focused on sociology.
Yeah.
And just one day I met a friend of a friend that was opening a spot over at Italy Flatiron on the rooftop, and it was kind of like I was doing realty, I was doing a couple things, and I was like, I'll give this a try, and kind of just took to it like a fish to water, and
here you are, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was it specifically around bartending, or I guess just hospitality generally, that sort of attracted you to the space?
Yeah, I think there is a sociology aspect to it for sure. And then, I've been throwing parties ever since I was a preteen. I think my first party I threw like a disco party when I was 8, so like kind of just, and I used to do these industry parties not too far away from here called Chateau Schultz. So I've just always been kind of throwing a party, and that's what this is to a certain extent. Yeah, a little sociology, a little throwing a party. So yeah.
And so you mentioned you got one of your starts at Italy. We did a little research on you. We know you've done some some bartending or just working bartending jobs.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, outside of New York. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I worked for my last spot here was the John Dory, which was Sasha's Petrovsky's. One of his spots, RIP. And my friend invited me to move to Charleston to help him open a restaurant called Le for Folly. So that was my first time out of New York to Charleston. And I did that for a year and a half, and then kind of I had the Band-Aid ripped off already, so I was like, let's try the West Coast. And kind of identified San Diego, and I wanted to go work at Plate Provision with Eric Castro and Consortium Holdings. So
Talk to us about, I guess, the cultural differences between, being on the West Coast versus being on the East Coast, and being down south a little bit.
Yeah, very, very different in terms of paces.
Yeah.
And just kind of like social interactions, of course. Obviously a little bit more laid back than New York. And yeah, I think for that, there's definitely, it's kind of what I was bringing to those cities. I mean, I was bringing kind of this faster kind of New York bartending and faster speaking.
The New York swag, man, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's good, man. All right, so before we transition to learning more about, the bar, and again, getting more of your story here, we would love to try another drink here. No, we got 2 left, one down, so.
Yeah, so this is the Traveling Coyote right here.
Okay.
You got Bitterman's Mole bitters in there, nice chocolate notes there. Averna, which has some cola notes from Sicily. You got beer, which is kind of port-like from southwest of France. A little bit of January spirits, Genepi, herbaceousness.
It's really good.
Tequila, yeah. Absolutely, kind of like this little herbaceous, but like chocolate, coffee.
Yeah, I'm tasting that. Yeah, and it's sweeter, a little bit on the sweeter side there too.
Yeah.
So, we're here at Amor y Amargo. Talk to us about, the history here behind this bar, and then the ambiance here and what sort of experience guests should expect when they come to the bar.
Sure. Well, first off, guests should be expecting to have a very intimate experience with it being 240 square foot of awesomeness.
Yeah.
And yeah, a very unique in terms of, we're one of the most esoteric niche bars in the world, right? There is no juice here, there is no sugar, there is no beer, there is no wine, there is no vodka.
That's right.
And we don't shake drinks. And we are also one of the largest libraries of potable bitters in the world.
So let's talk. Yeah. So let's unpack that, man. And let's talk about that some more. So everything here is stirred, right? What does that do to sort of the design of your menu, right? Like, what drinks can you make? What drinks can't you make? How does that all play out?
Yeah, sure. So again, we're focusing on bitters here, but yeah. So by eliminating juice and sugars and dairy and that kind of thing. We're kind of the reason that we're only stirring is because, well, we don't have those things. And what you're doing there is, well, when you're stirring, you're diluting and you're chilling. But when you're shaking, you're also introducing air. You're aerating these cocktails. And the idea is that you're aerating this citric acid to kind of dance across your palate there.
Gotcha.
So yes, we've removed that, and that's why we're stirring drinks only, baby.
You talked about the intimacy of the space, right?
Yeah.
Being 240 square feet here. I mean, obviously I think the advantage to that is that you build a relationship with folks that come in through the door, man. And talk to us about that experience, for folks when they come in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're gonna come in, you're gonna get a menu immediately.
Yeah.
We're gonna dress you because, I think that this bar can kind of get you on your heels a little bit because there is a lot of unfamiliar bottles, and also just the coziness and intimacy of this place. So you're going to get someone coming over to you immediately, or at least me addressing you at the door, and we're going to get you a menu. We're going to talk about it,
So how are you managing all of that, man? So I can imagine on a Friday or Saturday night, super packed in here, right? You're behind the bar here. And I guess, part of it is educating the guests on the menu.
Sure, yeah.
And then again, just sort of making the drinks back there. How do you manage all that?
Yeah. Well, I'm stirring with my toes. But no, I have a teammate here over on Friday, Saturday when it kind of gets to that extra level.
Okay.
That's being able to conversate with the guests.
Got it.
But other than that, I think the size of the room gives me the ability to have a conversation no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
Rather than a gigantic room where I'd be screaming at you. If I'm speaking at a decent level, you can hear me.
That's
if
right.
you have a question, or I can just at least be like, hey, I got you.
Yeah, and the experience is personable. Yeah. And again, you're building a direct relationship with somebody who comes in every day. Who probably knows your name on a first name basis. Right?
Yeah. And also, like, if they don't, it's we're at a little bit of a disposition because there are things that we don't do that most people are normally accustomed to having at a bar. So I do have to have that relationship with you kind of almost immediately to be like, I'm here for you. This menu might look like it's upside down backwards in Greek, but I got you.
Yeah. So I've got to ask, man, in terms of number of people that come in, like, on a Friday, Saturday night, how crazy does it get?
Sure. I mean, this bar has this crazy ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
The lower of this bar, which I was not here that night, is 62 people.
Jesus.
You know, some people doubt that. You know, I can't confirm that
Yeah.
for sure, but you know, you'll get an easy, 30 to 40 people in here, and the way it kind of works is almost clown car kind of style through that door. I mean, and then it'll, get full. People kind of have their drink, leave, and all of a sudden, there's like 6 people, and then same kind of rinse, repeat, recycle kind of thing. You're just like, so there's a lot of waves that happen in this bar that aren't necessarily a timed thing.
And I mean, the location is everything too.
For sure.
Being out here on the East Village or basically downtown.
So absolutely.
I'm sure it's super important for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the most iconic drinking neighborhoods in all of New York City. And has been for way before this was a bar.
And you guys have been open since 2011?
2011, we just turned 14.
There you go, man. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
I got you, man. So, I mean, has there, in evolution of the bar, has anything changed over the years in your mind, with respect to the bar here, whether it's menu design, cocktail innovation, the incorporation of different types of bitters? Exploring that world a bit more.
So one thing I want to highlight there, when this bar started in 2011, there was a fraction of these tincture and potable bitters available. A fraction. In fact, I saw a photo from 2012, and it was roughly like 20 to 25% of the bottles in here. So that has changed. Just the availability of what's imported here.
Okay.
Because this bar, when it started, was kind of one of those bars that raised up this and kind of made people aware. So that has changed. I mean, what we do has not. There's a couple things, when we got up and running that were going that no longer exist, but they were just here for such a short time. But no, I mean, we've really just kept tradition here and the way we do things. Really, the only thing that's kind of changed recently, which we're all very excited about, is we've got access to a very large drum of Angostura bitters. We were inspired by Best Intentions in Chicago, and we have that on tap, and we are now the first bar to ever serve a true highball of Angostura bitters. So
well, congratulations.
Amor y Amargo.
And happy birthday again.
Thank you.
All right, so before we transition to life outside of bartending, we'd love to try this last drink here, man. So what do we got?
So over here we have the Train Spotter.
Okay.
You're gonna have a little Bitterman's Burlesque bitters. That's got acai, long pepper, hibiscus.
Okay.
You've got Pasubio, which is a Vinamaro, wine base.
It's really good.
Blueberries, Mugo pine, Ramazotti Rosado. It's got some hibiscus and some orange flower blossom. And then last but not least, the Laird's oldest licensed distillery in America, apple brandy.
Okay. Gotcha. Sorry, before I transition, man. So I see one orange peel here, 2 lemon peels.
Sure.
We know the concept of, the bitters here is a very big part, if not the part of the bar here. But talk to us about sort of the fruit selection here and how that plays a role into the cocktails.
Again, so very straightforward this bar is, and like I said, there's no juice, but we do have 3 garnishes. A lemon twist, an orange twist, and a grapefruit twist.
And why is that?
Just tradition. We wanted to keep things very straightforward first off, and we're just using basically the oils of these citrus peels. And that was really just kind of, again, keeping it very straightforward and focused, and within these parameters of kind of like, you're able to kind of like hyper focus. So we're not thinking about any like crazy garnishes or any infusions or anything like that.
But like it, and I can taste it in each and every drink. It's simplicity but complexity at the same time with the ingredient list. But love the concept nonetheless.
Appreciate that.
That's good, man. All right, so we hear that you're a runner outside of bartending, man. So
I am.
I mean, how many miles you running? What are the accolades? Talk to us about it, man.
In the last 12 months, I'm a couple miles shy of 500, and ramping up for the Sydney Marathon in August and Berlin in September. So a lot of miles on these feet.
So where can folks catch you running? West Side Highway, Central Park, where are you typically at when you do your runs?
Typically I just love the West Side Highway. It's just beautiful, picturesque, open. But also like to get a little bridge work and get over to Brooklyn, get across, around Prospect Park and get back here.
Yeah, you get a little elevation too when you hit the bridge too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Got it, man. And so how long have you been running for?
I used to run as a teenager in my early 20s, and then kind of getting in this business and being very focused in it. I kind of lost that for 12, 13 years, and old friend of mine inadvertently got me motivated, and kind of in the last 2 years I've been getting after it, and it's helped my longevity behind the bar. I think right before I did that, I was just kind of like, I wasn't in the best of shape because I had kind of lost my exercise routine and whatnot. So that's helped me get in great shape, and it just makes being behind the bar for long hours.
I mean,
so
the
much
cardio
easier.
is on 100, so I mean, you're good to go nonetheless.
Yeah. I'm good for these 12-hour shifts.
Yeah, man, that's good. And so outside of running, are there other hobbies that you do outside of bartending?
Yeah, snowboarding when seasonally appropriate, and I, as much as I can, I like to travel.
Okay.
And
Where's the last place you traveled to?
Oh, geez, last year was insane.
Yeah?
I went to Germany, Switzerland, France, Iceland. I ran with the Bulls in Spain for my last birthday, so yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. How was that, man?
It was...
That's like a bucket list kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a bucket list thing. I mean, I'll tell you this much. It was on the list. Yeah, it was on the list, since I was like a teenager. And I'll tell you this, like, you think you're prepared, and like you get closer and closer to the date, and that you're there, and you're like, oh man, I messed up.
So,
and you hear that gunshot, and you see those
I was
balls,
gonna say,
it is real, it is live
so
right
now. Are you in the middle of the? I think is it an arena? What's the?
No,
paint the picture.
So it's in this old town, Pamplona.
That's right.
And they basically create this course with these. They bring out these huge wooden like fences and hammer them in, and it's basically a street into a square corner, and then a longer street into the arena.
Got it.
And it is
And you're starting in the street. Or
so
like
you gather in this plaza very early in the morning.
Yeah.
It's so old world, and then the police at some point determine that it's enough people, and they form a picket line of themselves around you.
Got it.
And then 10 minutes before 8, they let you into the course. You get to pick where you're at. And then at 8 sharp, you hear that gunshot, and they're coming.
Got it, man. Yeah, I'm sure that was exhilarating, man.
Yeah, to say the least.
Man. So here at the Cocktail Hour, man, we've got a special segment called the Speed Round.
Sure.
I'll ask you a bunch of questions, man. And expect it to be rapid fire.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so first question is favorite bar, obviously, outside of Amor y Amargo.
Sure. I mean, obviously there's so many incredible bars in New York City, but for sentiment's sake, it's going to be Attaboy for me. Yeah,
Okay.
Attaboy, which is still like, it's milk and honey, just a little bit more rock and roll for me. So yeah, Attaboy, can't go wrong.
How about if you, had a friend group in town, where you're taking them?
Friend group? Well, I'm going to be a little selfish probably, because I am centrally located not too far away from here. And I'm probably going to invite them to my lobby bar, which is Swift, Hibernian Lounge, which is one of the best pints, if not the best pint of Guinness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it, man. How about for date night?
Go on date night. I think something about Overstory for me.
Okay.
It's just sleek, sexy, and then the view
know the guys
alone.
very well. Yeah.
Harrison's doing a great job over there. So yeah.
Yeah, man.
Can't go wrong with that one either.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the most underrated ingredient that you've used that's worked here at? It doesn't have to just be here, but like, is there an ingredient that you tested and that you thought worked?
I'm gonna say that. So there's one that's there's a few, but one that's out there that really worked for a drink. Actually got me won a cocktail competition.
There you go.
I flash infused salmon nori.
No way.
Into a gin, and then I did like a seaweed infusion and a vermouth.
Yeah, man. I mean, if it worked, it worked.
Yeah, for
sure. So we'll take it, man. Yeah, man. I mean, do you have a preference on a type of bitter, that you'll use? Like, I guess, what's your go-to cocktail ingredient?
Yeah, I mean, besides like the holy trinity of Reagan's Orange and Peychaud's and Angostura.
Yeah.
Go-to one that I find myself really going to. I mean, I love the bitter cube, the cherry bark vanilla. Yeah, that bark of the cherry tree and the vanilla. I just love those aromatics right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Do you have a a crazy or most memorable, story while you've been bartending?
I've seen a lot of crazy shit and maybe not necessarily appropriate for the camera, but
Yeah.
something I thought of recently, I once served a man 13 Manhattans here, and he was
Still
fine
standing.
he was fine when he
There
left.
you go.
So 13 Manhattans, that's
Yeah.
a tall order.
That's what's-
so that's
yeah.
what you, if
And he didn't come out here
that's the
stumbling.
record here,
Yeah?
not that I'm trying to provoke anybody. but-
Oh man, that's funny. Well, Bruce, man, this has been an absolute pleasure, man.
Yeah,
Seriously,
man.
and to know your story and learn more about the bar. But before we close out, man, we'd love for you to share with folks at home, man, why they should come to the bar here at Amor y Amargo. And the experience they should expect.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you should absolutely come, say hello. You're going to have one of the most unique experience and, memorable, I think, as well. Just the sheer intimacy of the bar and my team, which is, this place is nothing without the team. Shout out to Lucky Prexto, David Runwans, AJ Delgra, Philip Song, Noah Green, and of course, Souther Teague. So yeah, I think you're just going to be able to get some things that you're not only never heard of, won't see at any other bar in New York City. And you're going to get a stirred and strong drink over here. Yeah.
Take it, man. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Bruce, absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks
I
again.
appreciate you, brother.
Of
Yeah.
course.